This is every single Leica 35mm Summilux that is readily available for purchase today. There are other obscure models like the original steel rim or the double aspherical Summilux, but those are really inaccessible and their physical design is really similar to what we have here today. So these four lenses are what we're going to take a hands-on look at. First off, from the smallest to the largest, my favorite lens for black and white film, the 35mm pre-aspherical Summilux. In production from 1960 to 1995, this vintage lens is glued to my Leica MP, and it uses an optical design that was in production for over 35 years. Next up, the 35mm steel rim reissue, a remake of the pre-aspherical Summilux but with modern coatings. This lens is currently being sold brand new by Leica as of 2022. Next, we have the 35mm aspherical Summilux. This lens was sold between 1994 and 2010, and is a great in-between option if you're looking for something that isn't too vintagey, but is not too modern as well. And finally, the 35mm FLE Summilux with floating elements. This is the most current optical design by Leica, sold between 2010 to date. There is a newer Summilux announced in late 2022 with a built-in hood and a closer focusing distance, but in terms of optics, they are largely similar. First off, let's compare their weight. The vintage pre-aspherical Summilux comes in at 216 grams. The steel rim reissue, being made of brass, comes in at 231, still really light, while the aspherical Summilux comes in at 336, while the FLE Summilux comes in at 322. So in terms of weight, the aspherical Summilux is the heaviest, while the pre-aspherical Summilux is the lightest. Now you might be wondering why the silver chrome FLE is lighter than the black aspherical Summilux. And that's because in general, silver chrome lenses made by Leica are made of brass. But this version of silver chrome is actually made of aluminium. So that's the reason for its weight. Now let's compare them in terms of size. Here's how big the pre-aspherical Summilux is compared to the steel rim reissue. Next, here's its size compared to the aspherical Summilux and the FLE Summilux. Now here's the steel rim reissue compared to the aspherical Summilux and the FLE, and finally the aspherical Summilux compared to the FLE. Now let's see how they compare in terms of size when mounted onto a Leica MP. First off, let's take a look at the pre-aspherical Summiluxes. And next, here's the size of the aspherical Summilux in comparison to the FLE. In terms of height, the pre-aspherical Summilux is the shortest, coming in at just under 4.4 centimeters. And the steel rim reissue is 0.4 centimeters taller, coming in at 4.8 centimeters. Next is the FLE Summilux, which is just over 5.8 centimeters, and the aspherical Summilux, which is just over 6.2 centimeters. And here's what they look like when mounted onto the camera. First off, the vintage pre-aspherical Summilux. Next we have the 2022 steel rim reissue, and the aspherical Summilux, and finally the FLE Summilux with floating elements. And here's an overview of their dimensions. Now I do have videos out on each of these lenses individually, so if you want to take a more focused look at any of these lenses, check out the channel. And if you want to watch more videos like this, subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.